Hi everyone, I just wanted to take a little bit of time today and create a video for you around some of the commonly asked questions that I have regarding my pan pastel backgrounds. Now I work mainly on Pastelmat. This is dark grey that you can see here, and if you don't know what Pastelmat is, it's made by a company called Clairefontaine. I'll put a link in the description for this video, and it's basically a thin card with cellulose texture sort of sprayed onto it. I think it comes from cork. They break down the cork and then spray it over the card, and you get a it's quite hard to describe it. It's certainly not a sanded texture, but it's also not a smooth texture. And when you actually apply pastel or pencil, there's a lot of tooth, and you can put a lot of colour down. It enables you to work from dark to light as well, which is one of the reasons why I really enjoy working from it. You're not stuck in a particular process. So I love to use Pastelmat, and I also love to use Panpastels behind the Pastelmat to really create some lovely vibrant soft backgrounds. I love coloured pencil for its detail, but it's less suited to very sort of smoky soft backgrounds. So I just wanted to talk to you now about Panpastels. So they come basically in, let's put that down there, in pans, hence the name Panpastel. So they can buy them individually or in sets, and they're basically, this one's got a little bit broken. I think I've thrown it around a little bit too much. But they're not cheap, but they're very economical in terms of how long they last, and very, very blendable. And if you don't like the dust or the mess that more traditional pastels create, these are ideal. So you get a lovely pastel-y effect without covering yourself most of the time from head to toe in pastel dust, which is what I used to do. Just put that back on there, one side. So I apply my Panpastels using Sofft tools. So these are plastic handles, and you have these little soft foam covers which slide on over the end. They come in 4 different shapes, which enable you to have quite a range of mark making possibilities. You can see there. The one I tend to use the most is this oval shape. They're all pretty useful, depending on what marks you want to make. And you can, especially with the pointy one, you can actually create some really quite fine detail. So one of the problems with these little soft covers leads people to using or experimenting with lots of other types of mark making tool is they can break down quite quickly. They're high density foam and they're quite fragile, so you have to be quite careful when you put them on the end of your tool. And I'll just show you how to do it. So there are definitely different ways of applying this, and this is the way that I've worked out from wasting quite a few different pastel covers over the years. So this is my Panpastel. This is like a dark turquoise, extra dark. It's a really lovely rich colour. So when you're basically applying your soft cover, your soft tool to your Panpastel, you want to make sure that you're even. I'll just tilt it there. So you want to make sure when you swipe it over the surface, you've got the whole of the cover onto the surface of the Panpastel. So you get an even cover there. You haven't just got the pigment down one end. And the same when you apply it to the paper. So rather than, I think what we tend to do with pastel is want to cover large areas in one go. But to start with, the first layer, you want to almost dab or tap. And just pushing it in and not trying to sweep it across. So just again, sweep across. See already, even though it's quite a dark colour Pastelmat, that's creating quite a nice even surface. I'm just pushing, patting it in. Not expecting at this stage to be able to just sort of swoosh it across the paper. So another common mistake I've seen when I've been teaching is that people want to sort of scrub the soft tool across the surface of the Panpastel to try and loosen the pigment before they apply it. And there's no need to do that. Some of the pans do sort of break down a little more quickly than others depending on the pigment involved. But then you see already there, that's quite a smooth, even light layer just by sort of tapping it on. And make sure you keep applying your pigment. And you can just see when bits are looser and you can just go and smooth it across. I'm just patting it in. If I want to blend that in with another colour, this is the turquoise, this is the pure turquoise. Now another thing to tell you. Always have a sheet of kitchen towel in between applications. Just wipe. You see almost already that it's almost all gone. So it just stops you from contaminating each colour. Oops, sliding away. So again, nice smooth swipe across the surface. Load up with plenty of pigment. And then you can apply it. So you don't want to scrub at that paper. Just keep your soft tool level with the paper. So I'm not going to worry at the moment about this edge. So ultimately I'm going to want it to be nice and blended and a nice transition between the colours. But at the moment, that's fine because this is just the first layer. And I'm just as well experimenting with these colours, how they work together for my background. Okay, so put that on again. Just gone over and wiped off the pigment. And this is the raw umber extra dark. Just swipe it across. Just add a little bit. This one's a little bit looser. Down. Swipe it across. Pat it in. There you go. A little bit here as well because I want to see how the colours all work together. It's starting to blend a little bit, but I wouldn't expect, I wouldn't be attempting to really get those soft blends yet. They'll come later. And I think that's when you're starting out learning new skills, you're only seeing, when you look at someone's piece of work, you're only seeing the top layer. You're not seeing what underpins that layer. And so by sharing a few techniques, it can hopefully help you blow off the dust. Okay, put that one down. And then some, this is the Paynes grey tint. So even though that's dark, I can still, as I've wiped off the excess on the kitchen towel, I can still swipe it over the surface of a lighter colour and not contaminate the pigment. And just a bit there. And I just want to wipe a little bit between colours. Get some loose pastel, but you can see it's really, in comparison to traditional stick pastels or chalk pastels, far less dust. And you can actually stay quite clean. I don't like getting messy with my art. I'd rather not be covered in dust. So these are ideal. So that's my first layer. And now it's when you start to be able to play a little bit. And then I can do more of it. Now there's a layer down. It's the whole feel is a little more smooth and silky, and I can start to almost scumble this circular motion into the other colours. You start to get some graduations and blends happening. Sometimes you're going to want a hard edge. So hard edges are quite easy to create. It's the soft edges. And then you can just dip into your pans. I'm going to just wipe in between. Just mix it all together. Some turquoise. Pat again if you want a little bit more. Okay. I'm not actually trying to create anything other than just working with colour at the moment. There's no actual structure to what I'm doing. So you can get the lighter colour over the top. It just picks up a little bit. And the whole surface starts to feel, that first layer is quite sort of stiff almost to put down. Once you've got that first soft layer of pigment in, you can start to be, it just feels silky and it starts to flow. And then you can maybe get your pointer tools, and if you wanted to create some lines or structures, that's when they start to be able to. I'll just do that there just to show you. You can draw on there. Yeah, just be really, really gentle. And you'll actually be able to blur it out if you don't like it. They're very forgiving. As long as you're light with your application, you can just keep playing until you get the look that you're after. A little bit more reddy colour in there. Actually, so pat it in. You don't want it to blend too much. A bit of turquoise again. And then it's just a matter of playing and fiddling around with it till you get the colour that you want, the look that you want. See, I'm making sure the way I'm holding my my soft tool is so that the soft tool cover is as level as possible. It's when you do it on the outside, you sort of use it as an angle like so. You get it on there. And you sort of poke it like this, and you're doing scrubbing it like that on the paper. That's when you start to get problems and you start to get your deterioration of that foam cover. And this is sort of the effect I'm looking for, so it's smoky with little hints of pure colour sort of popping through. You can just pat on little pure bits if you need to. And they also, one last thing, they produce a colourless blender. So this doesn't really have any pigment. It does seem to lighten it very slightly. I'm just going to wipe off the pastel. This is really silky, and if you just want to blend without really massively changing the colour, so it does seem to lighten slightly, but this is a good one to use. You can also put this down first sometimes, just so the next, when you're actually applying colour, it's just a bit smoother. See how that really sort of dilutes everything, and you really want that soft effect. It's a really nice one to use. And you can actually just a little turquoise on top of there, go back in. It really is just a matter of playing with it once you get them working. Well done there. So luckily this is an experiment, this one. It's not the finished thing. But if you can with Panpastel, if you do make a mistake, nothing to stop you. Let's grab up. So you can lift your colour. If you don't, you can show a bit better there. This is just Scotch Magic tape. And you can actually lift pigment out. So that's the pigment I've taken out of the paper. It doesn't take it back to zero, but it lifts pigment so that it gives you more space to actually apply more if you start to feel that it's got a bit full. You can also use like a plastic eraser, and that will actually erase. Let's It's taken it off really well. And I tend to, when I've got little bits like that, just use a bit of Scotch Magic tape, just to dab the loose bits off, like so. And this is really helpful if you're actually creating a background and you want the subject to be really pastel free, so you can tidy up dirty edges. It's just a normal cheap, I don't know this one, what brand this one was, just a normal white eraser. Okay, well hopefully that helps, and I will also video the horse that I'm doing so you can see me actually working on creating an actual piece of art by the experimentation. Okay, speak to you soon, bye bye.